Hi guys, and welcome back to Dice Down Gaming. Welcome to the monthly meta show. We're going to cover August, as we're now 1st September, another month gone. We're going to take a look at the win rates of armies out in Warmachine MK4. Have a look at a little bit of what the leaders are looking like inside certain armies. Then we're going to take a look at 3 events from across the globe. I've got one from America, Australia, and one from Europe. We take a look at the top 3 lists and see if we can see any trends. In those lists in terms of command cards or sort of list construction. I think one thing to say previously we've seen is that single in infantry currently not very favourable. Cohort heavy or multi-wing infantry lists are much more popular. And card wise, defences is very popular. Blessing to God is very popular. So it'll be great to see what we see today when we take a look at really quick one. If you like what I'm doing and you haven't subscribed to me, I'd be really grateful if you subscribe and you'd like this video. And I'd love to hear your comments on what you think of the current meta in Warmachine Mark 4 in the comment section. That out of the way, let's take a look at. Let's begin with the army win rates of armies in Warmachine Mark 4. I'm going to focus on the Mark 4 faction with an exception of Infernals. The reason is that you can see that some of the Mark 3 factions, like Temple Guardians at 29 games recorded, and United Krills games, there's such small data points that it's hard to really get much value from them. It's another thing worth saying that this data is from January 2025, post the balance pass. So this is all information that has only been drawn since the game was updated with the balance patch in January. So looking at the Mark 4 armies, the first one we see is Winter Corps at 45%. I think universally people know that the Winter Corps are struggling as a Mark 4 army. Above from there, you've got House Callis at 48%. So pretty close to 50%. Not bad. I think between 45 and 55% is probably where you want to be. But I think this shows the Winter Corps probably are the one faction that maybe needed a bit of uplift in the January pass. Next up, Gravediggers at 48%. Slightly lower games than other Mark 4 armies because they're relatively new. But 48% reasonable. Then we're up here to Sea Raiders and Shadow Flame Shard and Brian Blood Marauders and Storm Legion, all sitting at 52%. That is a really great number to be, just above 50%. Fantastic. I think one interesting stat, which we can show on a graph next, is that if you look at Sea Raiders' win rate, Horus is at 62% and others below 50%, with Oriax at 22%. And I think that shows that Horus is doing a lot of heavy lifting regarding the Sea Raiders win rate. And then once you jump above 52%, you've then got Old Umbre. This is such a small game sort of number that take it with a grain of salt. It's good to see that they've done well so far at 54%, but I think we need more data to really get a valid number from that. Next up, you've got Necrofactorium, highest of the Mark 4 armies, 55%. And interestingly, we've got Kaifos there sitting at 7% above the army's win rate. So that's another standout leader. And I'll honorary mention to Infernals, you're at 59%, so that's incredibly high. And I think that's above where you want an army to be, between 45 and 55. And if you take a look at this, Zataroth, that's another a leader that's 5% above their army win rate. So those 3 casters stand out as in they're doing some heavy lifting for their faction. But all in all, I think this paints a pretty healthy look at Warmachine Mark 4 and the meta we're playing in. I think with Warmachine, Winter Corps could do with a little bit of a uplift and a bit of love. But apart from that, maybe House Callis, you could argue Gravediggers, maybe they need a tiny bit. I wouldn't argue Gravediggers need anything. But I think overall, we're playing in a really healthy meta that you can pretty pick up any Mark 4 faction and be competitive, which is fantastic. I'll show you this graph. I really like this graph. You've got the amount of games on your left, and you've got the win rate of the army on the right. And you can sort of see that, here, the amount of games, pretty similar for all the armies. Gravediggers, obviously, a bit less because they're newer. And Old Umbre are hiding somewhere down here with many games because they're so new. But what you can see is quite interesting that you have these casters here, which include Vexus for Dark Operations, Zataroth, Kaifos, and Horus, which their win rate is plotted there because they are statistically higher than the armies win rate. You also have Lycia here. So I think we're playing in a pretty healthy meta at the moment. Apart from Wind Corps needing a bit of an uplift, I think all the armies are relatively close in terms of power level, which I think is a great place to be. Let's jump into some events and look at some lists. This month, last month now, in August, we had 52 events for Warmachine, which is pretty good. The month before that, there was quite a few less. So 52 for a month is fantastic. Hopefully, we can keep seeing an uptick in events. That's always good to see. But the first event we're going to kick off and look at is the August 100 Steamroller and Super Series Qualifier. This was in Queensland, Australia. There was 14 players here. I've tried to pick one event from sort of America, Europe, and somewhere else. And we've got 3 players. We've got top 3. 2 players end up 3-0 because of the 14 players, I think. And we've got in the top 3 2 Brian Budd players and 1 Storm Legion player. Congrats to Josh, Lewis, and David for being top 3, and congrats to everyone else for having a really good day. Josh is a name that probably most people would recognise. One of the people that played sort of Mark II and maybe even Mark 1. Let's jump into the list. So David Lancaster with Brian Bloods came in 3rd. Interestingly, we're going to take a look at the cards before we jump to the list. We've got Blessing, Defences, Duck and Cover, Hit and Run, and Old Faithful. So Defences, we've seen to be really popular across the sort of list we've looked at, and I think I'm running Sapper in all of my lists now, so I think Defences is really popular. Interestingly, with Brian Blood, you don't see them as much because the army lacks Pathfinder, but with Shadow Tongue, who has access to Ghost Walk, it makes a bit more sense. So we've got a Shadow Tongue list with Sham, a Diatrol with the full tanky setup. We've got another Diatrol who's got the Squid, so the spray, a Reef Troll who is Shield Guard, to be a Shield Guard, score a Cohort, Booty Boss, Fire Guy and Fire Guy, and Boomhound and Badam, 2 Marauder Crew, yep, and Lockabash. So a bit of a mix of everything. You got 2 free heavies, sort of support Reef, some Marauder Crew, and Booty Boss to put Stir the Blood on the Marauder Crew. Boom Howler for Force Barrier, Madame for Spell Slave and free upkeep. Marauder, Big Turf to make the Quartermaster a bit more accurate. One unit with Bosun. A great list, a really great all-round list. You got Petition to you can rack Petition to fire off your Diatrolls, 15 inches, and Shadow Tongue's just a great toolbox, and I think one of them casters that you can really play and master and really do well with, as David has. So congrats, David. And next up, he's also running Ragemonger. I think a common pairing, Shadow Tongue and Ragemonger. We've got Shum, a super tanky Diatrol, great old one, resilient to shooting and in melee of unyielding. A Vroga, a Booty Boss, a Fire Guardian, Boom Howler, Madame again, more Marauder Crew, and Big Galley Crew for some Fury support. So another solid list. Inclusion of Great Old One is quite interesting. I'm seeing Great Old One come up more and more. Immovable Object, he's a fantastic rule. Carapace makes him really hard to shoot. Pair that with Unyielding in melee, going to armor 22. And this guy here, Giga Resilient in melee. I think armor 24 in melee, but Unyielding. So really tough cohorts to crack. Backed by a quarter Marauder Crew who take one of Raven's feet really well. So 2 really solid lists. No defenses in this one because, as I said before, Brian Blood's lacking Pathfinder. We've got Blessing again, and then Lucky Penny, careful against for Pathfinder. Doesn't cover in Old Faithful. So I think what we can say is that Blessing, incredibly common. I don't think I've seen a list about Blessing yet. Next up, we've got Lewis, who's also got Brian Bloods. So strong representation for Brian Bloods in this event. Top 3 are 2 Brian Bloods. First of all, we've got Shadow Tongue. Card-wise, there is no defences. We've got Blessing, and then an array of Duck and Cover, Lucky Penny, Sapphire, and Breakthrough. We've got a Deepborn, who has got the head that gives him +1 rat and has a spray. The Lurker is a mixer of the armour and Threshold Fin. Got Hammerhead for the extra armour. Sorry, Hammerhead for the 2-inch reach, and the left arm for the Shark with the extra armour. We've got the exact same repeated, so a spray, as I said, 2 Vroggers, so 4 cohort models, 2 booty bosses, and then you've got 3 Marauder Crew units plus Lockabash. So the Lockabash and Marauder Crew all hit incredibly hard with Fury Strength and Stir the Blood. You've got 4 cohorts to score 50mm, 2 Drags and Vroggers. You've got Petition, you could drag Petition, you've got Gallows in the list. Really, really fantastic list. You've got a bit of everything. You've got a Dirge to help support the Quartermaster's accuracy. And you've got the toolbox of Shadow Tongue. So I can see why it's done so well. And congrats, Lewis, for your Frio. And next, though, we've got Boom Howler. So you've got Great Old One. No defenses again, but we've got Blessing and an array of cards. Boom Howler with Great Old One. 2 Reef Trolls, which have got Shield Guard and Cutlass and Ship Drill. So yeah, so the pretty standard Shield Guard loadout, +2 armor for the shield, and Cutlass is +2 defense in melee. You've got a Vrogger, so 4 cohort, and then you've got all of the Marauder Crew and Lockabash with Gregor and Madame. Really, really great list. I ran a lot of more Boom Howler with 4 Marauder Crew and Lockabash. Tactician from Admiral Boom Howler really unlocks this list really well. Being able to charge through your own army makes it incredibly efficient. And it's a really, really strong list. I'll be taking something similar-esque to Welsh. Congrats, Lewis, on your Frio with Shadow Tongue and Boom Howler. Next up, we've got Josh Bates with Storm Legion. We've got defenses with Wolf. We've got a Corsair with an Arc Node and the Storm Thrower. A Striker with the Javelin and Stormblazer Cannon with True Sight as well. General, great character. Kruger, great character. 2 Legion officers, I think the best solos in the game. Arcane Mechanics, 2 Legionnaires, two Storm Lance Legionnaires and Storm Guard Legionnaires, and Black 13th. Incredibly great list, full of really powerful models. General, Storm Lance Legionnaires, Black 13th, officers, all fantastic. Kruger, fantastic. Potent feat on Wolf if you can't play around it. And 3 rack spells, and Storm Legion's got a fantastic rack. So really, really strong opening list from Josh. We've got defenses, Blessing, Hit and Run, Careful Recon, and Sapper. And then the second list, I'm going to guess before I see the cast, I see loads of cohort, is probably Huxley. So yep, Huxley with the typical light spam, striker spam, and general. Bunch of mechanics, veins, and storm blades. So also defenses again with Blessing. Lucky Penny makes sense. Old Faithful for all the cohort. Sapper. Don't think we need to talk about that list too much. That is pretty much the copy and paste Huxley list. Incredibly efficient at what it does. And Josh incredibly efficient in this event. He went 3-0. So but the strength schedule. Well, no, it wasn't strength schedule. It's actual VPs. So congrats, Josh, on your taking this event on your extra VPs. But I think, you know, what those lists show, again, is that Sigurd Infantry is not very popular. Defences is very popular. Blessing the Gods is very popular. I'm well done to everyone who attended this event. I hope you had a really good day in Oz. So next up, we've got the German Masters. This was a 2-round event, and they had a top cut. So there's quite a few players that attended. We're going to take the top 3 of the top cut. So the first, we've got Scaffrex Zeus himself was playing, so well done Zeus, and Ben Beckman. We've got Old Umbre, Necrofactorium, and Storm Legion in the top 3, and we're going to take a look at Ben's list, who came third. We've got Huxley with a very, very similar list to what we just saw. 3 lights, 3 heavies, general, mechanics, storm veins, and legionnaires. Got defenses and blessing, lucky penny and old faithful and sapper. That is what it is. It is the Huxley list. Next up, we've got Cowder. Huxley Cowder, I think, is the strongest pairing you can put down for Storm Legion right now. We have a Maelstrom with the heavy mag bolters, the hammer, and the pulse fist. Captain Kruger, he's very good. 2 Legion officers, mechanics, 2 legionnaires, veins, legionnaires. Storm Lance Legionnaires and Storm Guard, Assailers and Black 13th. Fantastically strong list. Assailers take Arcane Shield really well. You've got the Maelstrom as the anchor of the list. The launch of Legionnaires. Storm Lance Legionnaires, fantastic. Crusaders cool. great free rack caster. You got electrify, arcane shield deflection, which are three fantastic spells off the top of my head, and you've got the rest of them in the rack as well. So I think this is this is as strong as a pairing you can put down for Storm Legion right now. And congratulations for going getting to the top cut and then winning a game in that top cut, friend. Great result and really strong list. Next up, we've got Zeus himself playing some Warmachine. We've got Aviserus, who's got defenses, Blessing of the Gods, Sapper. So I think Blessing, defenses, and Sapper, free. We're seeing that a lot now, and it's very common. And then you've got two cards to fit the list. You've got Aviserus, which is going to be loads of Malefactor. So it's called Malefactor, and then Malefactor. We're going to say Malefactor. Temestra for the support, and then Magnus, Shatterbane for enliven, auxiliary attack, Criterion to score some objectives and be a pain, and Necrosedent Initiates to somewhat power it up. Aviserus with a bunch of cohort. That makes a lot of sense, and it's pretty standard Aviserus list. It threatens really far with red line and the feet, and with it all being dug in, it's quite resilient to getting shot. And next up, you've got Caiaphas. Would expect to see Caiaphas in sort of the top end Crix pairings. We've got Blessing the Gods, we've got defenses, and then we've got some flavor cards. List wise, we've got a Raptor with a ranged attack and an Arc Node, a second Raptor with a Doom Spitter and a blow up back, so when it dies, it takes some power 12. Acton again for the support. You've got Nostilla and Aberration, so you've got access to Revive. You've got Cyphus for the more support. Scarlock Lieutenant, which gives the Mil Mechanophral shield guards. 2 Night Terrors, 2 Slush Fowls, and Furies. So there's good value targets to revive here in the Sludge Fowls and the Night Terrors, so that makes sense. And Caiaphas is a real powerhouse. So I can see why this list has performed so well. It's full of all the good stuff. And congrats to Evie. Maybe it's not Zeus, but congrats to Evie for making the top cut and winning one. Next up, we've got Scathrex, which is running Old Umbre, so that's really interesting to see. Old Umbre performing well. This will be really interesting to read because they're quite limited in what they have right now. They've only got their first 2 boxes. So I don't know what these lists are going to be, and we'll jump in together. Now, Old Umbre have got Pathfinder up on everything, which I'm finding out as I'm sort of building up a list of Old Umbre. They'll be my next project for the next year after World Masters. So I'm expecting to see defenses everywhere here. First up, we've got Bodan, which makes sense because you're either going to be Bodan, Galena, or Yana. So we've got Bodan with a Blessing of the Gods, defenses, Lucky Penny, so typical stuff. We've got a Feral, who has got wings, so he's got the Rush Animus, and Drek. I can't remember what Drek does off the top of my head. This might be the one where if it kills a model, it gains a Blood Quench token. You're going to check live. So this is the one that's got a Spray and Stun, which gives a model -2 defense. Primeval with a Stag, which is like a Fury management, Bone Sword and Enchanted Shield. So crit amputation on the sword and shield for +2 armor. A Primeval with Raven, which is True Sight. A Staff for Geomancy, really nice for Bodan. And an Enchanted Claw, which is a Blessed Power 16 weapon. Vilco, Vilco and Magnus in one list. Veroni, Sojin, and the Hounds. Wow. Really interesting list. So, Giga Elite, you've got 2 character units, 2 20-point super heavies. Well, sorry, 1 20-point super heavy and 1 20-point sort of combination in Razor and Vilco. And you've got 3 heavies. So, yeah, really interesting list. I would have loved to have seen these guys' games streamed or something. That's super cool. Really interesting. Next up, you've got Yana. So it wasn't Galena, it was Yana. And you've got a whole bunch of cohort. So you've got Rush. This is Guard Dog and Rush. I believe Quills. Quills is Primal, I believe. Or is it Spiny Growth? So that's Spiny Growth. So you can get access to Yana Spiny Growth. And Periton, not RuneScape, is what we just took a look at, I think, and that is the Blood Quench. So that is +1 armor and +1 melee damage rolls for each model which is killed in a melee attack. So that works really nice. You can Spiny Growth the Feral that's killed a bunch of stuff, and then it gets even more armor. So they can be really pain to kill. Drek is the Spray and Stun, and Bony Spine, that might be Primal. Bony Spine, Primal. Yeah, so you've got Rush, Spiny Growth, and you've got Primal in the same list. So you've got access to all the tech animuses. Primeval with True Sight, Head, and Hunting Spear, really interesting, and the Skull, which can I believe the Skull is the one that can trigger the transformations. It is very interesting that they're taking the Skull. That might have been a points thing, or maybe it was another range attack essentially. So 2 range attacks. Bear gives you access to Earth Blessing and a Shield and a Sword, makes it tanky. Strix, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 heavy, 6 cohort models. Makes sense for Yana with Conferred Rage. They all get +2 speed, +2 mat. Then you've got Veroni, Zacchaeus, Chosen, and Hound. So, wow. So both of these lists really elite. That makes sense because when the man, Scaphrex, maybe a man, was playing these lists, they had no access to the core expansion box. So they only had command and battle group boxes. So defenses in both lists makes sense because there's Pathfinder everywhere. Well done, Scaphrex. That's really cool to see. Some really, really interesting lists. I would love to have watched your games being played. And congratulations on making a top cut and then making 2-0 and winning German Masters, German champion. Massive congratulations. Really great to see. Next up, we're going to take a look at the NAWX Nova team tournament. That's very cool. So this is in Nova. We're going to take a look at the top team because there's 3 players in that team and I don't fancy doing 9 more lists. I don't think anyone wants to listen to 9 more lists. We had the top team. We did you dirty. This is a big event, a really big event. So it's 16 players, and you've got 3 in everything. So there's 48 players. So that's a big event. That's great to see. I love team events. So let's take a look at the top list, which is some familiar faces here: Jake Van Meter, Justin Dew, and Danny McGeehan. So Jake, massive name in Warmachine, as well as Justin. Congratulations, guys, on going 4-0 as a team. Quick shout out to 3rd and 2nd. You've got number 2 Battle Driven Fan Club. And you've got Dirty Mike is questioning the choices that led into this place. We've all been there before. So congratulations on 3rd and 2nd. We're going to take a look at specifically at the top team. And we take a look at the list. So Jake Van Meter running Shadow Flame Shard, which no surprise. It's been Dragon Legion of Blight player forever. And it's gone into Shadow Flame Shard. So I think that makes sense. We've got Cyrus with Defenses, Blessing, Sapper, and 2 other cards. We've got Cyrus with Skylar, a Trike, a Vipex with Hunter's Mark, Belial, Paragon, Knight, Slashes, Shadowmancers. Probably, to me, one of the most similar to the Huxley list. A list that you could probably write without looking at the list once you've seen the caster. Obviously, incredibly powerful, and there's a reason why it's played so often. Trike incredibly good. You've got the negation tower there, so you can't. You're not going to get many spells off on it or things near it. Skylar's an incredibly good piece. Belial to buff the Trike or Skylar. Hunter's Mark on the Vipex to extend your threat. Paragon protects you from shooting. Incarnate Knights give you a really resilient sort of anchor piece. And Lashes is just great. 3-inch melee. The drag can sometimes get you in a threat range you weren't before. And you've got the Shadowmancers for a bit of fury management. Epically strong list, and Jake an epically great player. And next up, you've got we have Nixian with defenses. No Sapper, but you got Blessing, and then a few of the flavor cards. Here we have Achilles, really popular pick with Nixian. A Vipex with Hunter's Mark. A Weirven with Belial, Pythia for the spell support. Paragon Knights, 2 Lashes, Shadowmancers. Shades is just epically good, and Nixian's got a really strong assassination threat, and they really synergize with that. Also, some Quickfang Stalkers. It's a sort of single wing infantry, which can be very useful, especially being able to give them prey from Nixian, etc. I think Nixian's seen a bit of like I see a lot of Nixian around these days, so maybe Kyrax is sort of falling out of favour, but I see Nixian is certainly making the rounds, a really adaptable caster. A lot of fun to play, and it puts out a really killer assassination threat. But well done, Jake. 2 really great lists, and one of the biggest names probably in Shadow Flame Shard. Obviously performed well. Justin Dew, who has got Infernals. Now, I have somewhat educated myself a little bit on Infernals. I've played a game against Zilv and against his Zataroth, so I know now a little bit of what they do, so I can go through a little bit. But what you see is you start with very little horrors because you're going to summon them through the game. Howler's incredibly good medium infantry with Scything Touch. They can hit pretty hard. You've got Grievous Swarm, useful for triggering Road to War on Zataroth. You've got an army of solos. I won't list what all of these do. Wretches are typically used to sacrifice to summon the horrors. You've got Valen, who has got a tactician and no knockdown within 10 inches. Really, really strong. Hermit can give minus armor and allocate essence to your guys near him. Princess has got deflection. Really, really strong list. The way that the mechanics works as well, that you summon 3 essentially heavies during the game means that often you're playing with a few points up on your opponent, and if you can't sort of gauge them by turn 2, turn 3, and as soon as you get behind against them, you're really behind because they've summoned these horrors. Incredibly strong list. Justin really knows what he's doing with it. Now the second list, Agathon, is probably still a bit beyond me. I've not really deep dived into Agathon. I know what Zataroth does. You've got the +3 defense feat, and if you miss, you can place 3 inches. Really punishing. One missed attack, and you mean you don't kill a horror. You didn't kill that key solo. You didn't kill that last model in a unit contesting an objective, etc. But Agathon is still beyond me. So not surprised to see Zataroth. I would love to see quickly if he played only Zataroth. It looks like he only played Zataroth, which doesn't surprise me. Zataroth is sort of carrying Infernals on their shoulders at the moment. Really strong list. So many tools in the list as well, between all the solos. So much sort of tech you have on offer to you. And to remember what all of these do and try and play against it is really tough. So congratulations, Justin. I think you won 3 out of 4 games. It's fantastic. So really great result from Justin there. And then we are going to take a look at, if I can get back to where we were. Let's go this way. We'll take a look at the last list, which is Gravediggers, which is Danny McGeehan. So we've got defenses to begin with. What cards do we have? 8 cards here. We've got Blessing, defenses, Military Engineering, which is like Super Sapper. Not good for a guy with a list per se. 2 light airdrops, which makes sense. Flavor cards. So we've got Jake's, Synergy, Warcaster, primarily running lots of cohort. 3 Patriots, so 3 lights, 2 heavies and a plugger, and Nostilla. So another super heavy cohort list. You've got 6 cohort models just in the Warcasters battle group, and you've got the super heavy. Then you've got just support and your rangers to maybe score a unit objective. I think that follows the trend of what we're seeing, that cohort heavy lists, multi-wind infantry is really popular, and I think the lists we're looking at today really reinforce that. Next up, we have Vargas, who has got no defenses, but we've got 2 light airdrops, a heavy airdrop, so you can put a hard point on one of your Valiants, an extra hard point, and then flavor cards, Super Sapper again. We've got Deuce, Plugger, Valiant, so 4 cohort this time, expensive with the Deuce and Plugger, and you paid 5 points for the heavy airdrop, so the list is going to be smaller. 2 Valiants with just the meat and sort of bracers, sword and shield Valiants. Oh no, sorry, they're sword and shield, but the volley shields have the boosted attack rolls against warrior models, so they've got nice duality there. Plugger and Deuce are actually surprising, good amount of shooting from these 4 models. 2 units gun majors to support them. Rangers, with CRAs are always great in black fighting. So actually a surprisingly effective shooting list, actually, looking at this with what it can put out between Deuce, Plugger and these volley shields, the black fighting to support, and Rangers with CRAs. Really strong list. Vargas' feat is really killer. And Jake's feat can really catch you out the acrobatics if you don't know about it. Danny won 2, lost 2. That's a really good result in a competitive field. And he played Jake's all bar 1 game. Really interesting. I'm just going to take a look at what Jake played in terms of leader. Nixian, Cyrus, Nixian. Still spread. Congratulations, guys. Did you dirty? Congratulations for winning the team event in Nova. That's really fantastic, and some really strong names there. I think Nova looked fantastic as an event. Sherman was my friend Sherman and the Steamful Games guys were there, and I was really jealous I wasn't there. It looked really cool. I would have loved to have been there. Um, and that sort of sums up the events that we've sort of looked at. I think what we can maybe summarize is that heavy cohort lists seemed incredibly popular from what we've looked at. Even to the point 5 or 6 cohort models was not uncommon. Single infantry remains elusive, and we're still looking at a sort of certain archetypes for certain army lists. So Shadow Flame Shard, I say like Lashers, Shadowmancers, Belial, Vipex with Hunter's Mark. They pop up, in most places. Necrofactorium, Night Terrors, Sludge Thralls, Criterions pop up, in most places. So there's certainly repeated units we're seeing every time we do this now. Interestingly, we didn't see any House Callus in the top 3, so we didn't get a chance to see how, if the Phantasm has made much of a difference there. People still might be playing up or building it, and that might come in. That might bring them up a little bit with a Phantasm. I'm not sure. I'm excited to see how old Ombre land in September, because now people in Europe in September will have the core box as well. So you can get Maxim, you're gonna get the Hunters, you're gonna get the Lupine shifted stuff. So I think that will make it will be really interesting to see how that affects the win rate of Old Umbre, and in what sort of list we start seeing pop up before they get their final box of Resnikova and the Ursans, which I think really unlocks the faction. Yeah, and then hopefully we keep seeing events growing. We got more this month than we did last month, and hopefully we can see that trend going on. If you got this far in the video, I'm massively grateful. I love taking a look at the methods and the win rates, etc. And until the next one, guys, I'll see you then.